Hello, everybody. Welcome to the English staff room. I'm with Irina today. Hi.
Hiya.
Nice to meet you, Irina. My name is Magda, and I've heard from you from my ex-colleague Greg, and he's said so many positive things about you.
Oh,
Yes, I'm so honored to have you here on the show.
thank you so much for having me. It's
Great.
really nice to
So
be here.
I want to start with three warm-up questions, as always. 'Cause I want to just share some ideas with new teachers. So, how long have you been teaching, and what country? In what countries?
I've been teaching for about 10 years, give or take. And to be honest, it's mainly been just one country, UK. I only briefly taught in Russia
Mhm.
for about 6 or 7 months. And then the rest of the time I've been teaching here in the UK. But that said, though, I think I've taught people from definitely over 20 countries, because that's the great thing about teaching in an English speaking country, because that's where people come to learn English from literally all over the world, and that's been really great.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. It's like that countries that I had never heard of before.
Yeah.
It's just meeting all these people. It's just, it's just wonderful. Yeah.
People that you've never met otherwise, so that's kind of one of the best things about having this job. Yeah.
Yes, totally agreed. And do you have like a teaching philosophy or something like that?
um I wouldn't call it like a school of thought as such, but I guess
Mhm.
at the moment it is basically enjoy what you do and do what you enjoy. Um, if that's possible, if you get to have a say in what you do, obviously, because if you're working for someone, it could be a bit tricky because you don't always get to choose what you teach and who you teach.
Mhm.
But in the place I'm at the moment, just basically doing my own gig. That's been the greatest thing for me so far. Just I've completely scrapped course books. I've just been doing my own thing, totally just using authentic materials, news articles, YouTube videos, and planning lessons around them. And that's been really enjoyable. It doesn't really feel like work, to be honest, because I'm having great fun. And I think that's the most important thing. If you're doing what you really love, you don't really get that burnout, because it doesn't really feel like work, does it?
No, definitely not. It's just every day is so different, and it's just meeting all these people is great. It's amazing. I
Yeah.
think I've been teaching around 10 years, and I still haven't got bored of it. At times
No, we can get
a little bit
boring.
tired, maybe a little bit burnout, but then I don't know what happens, but I just get more energy, get more ideas. And this is what I'm doing the English staff room to inspire other people and, get some ideas and try to copy styles and try something new as well.
It's a really good idea, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
I'm really curious to know what your favorite activity is and what do you do?
Mm,
Always works in a class.
I don't think there is such a thing. There isn't a thing that always works. It will fail eventually if you keep doing it over and over again. But there are a couple of things that I've been enjoying doing on and off. In a face-to-face classroom, one thing that really works well for vocab revision is half a crossword.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very simple to set up and very easy to prepare. There is a website. I think that's what it's called, half a crossword. So it's basically a crossword template. You can put up to 16 words on it, I think. So basically, what you do is you look at your lessons, previous lessons, if you want to do vocab revision for the week, for example. Make a list of words, and you just type them up, put them into a crossword, so that each student gets half of the words on the grid, crossword grid. So they basically work in pairs, and the words that they don't have, they need to ask for their partner to explain or define to them.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's speaking practice, it's vocab revision, it's, you know, that sort of problem solving, pronunciation practice. Sorry, could you say that again? I didn't quite catch that. So it's practicing lots of things at the same time, but the main one obviously is vocab. Another thing that works quite well, but everyone's doing that anyway, is two truths and a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, very easy to set up, and you can practice lots of things as well. So it could be like topic related, talking about previous experiences. It could be grammar related, something like used to and would, talking about the past. It's quite flexible as well, and it's personal. It's personalizing the language, which always helps memorize it, I think. So those two are quite good. I've been using them quite a lot. Not all the time, but I do have a habit of using the same thing over and over if it works well. So that's something I need to snap out of.
That's fine. Yeah, that's great. So can I just come back very briefly to the first activity you about? It was the crossword.
Sure.
How much preparation does it require, and what exactly do you have to do?
5 minutes at most, depending on how fast you can type the words up. So you go on that website. If you just literally Google half a crossword template, it'll be the first thing to pop up. And then just type up the words. You save the PDF on your computer. Then just print them off. Yeah, and get the A and the B side, and that's it.
I'm gonna try that and see.
Really easy to set up. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Amazing. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Let you know how it went. Yay.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, Irina. So our topic today is online teaching. And to be fair, before the pandemic, I was so scared of teaching online. I didn't know anything about it. I was like, oh my God. And then from day 1 to day 2, I had to learn how to use Zoom. I had to learn how to share the screen, use breakout rooms.
Yeah.
And that was so overwhelming. But then after I get a hang of it, it got better and I started enjoying it. And but now I want to ask you a little bit about how to make it a bit more fun, because I feel my online lessons sometimes can be a little bit flat and it's just, putting the slides. How can I just make it a bit more entertaining for my students?
To be honest, when I was just starting doing online lessons, I'd been really, really skeptical about them. Like, how is it going to work? What's the how, just, and why? But at the moment, the way I see it is you've got this amazing dashboard in front of you. So imagine that you're the driver. So you kind of drive the lesson, and you've got this dashboard, and you can do so many things that you couldn't have done in a physical classroom, or they would have been a lot more awkward to do. So switch between tabs quickly. You find a good example of a sentence for a word that you're teaching, something that you just can't come up with on the spot. So you just Google it quickly, you come up with a great example. So looking things up as you go, which I do all the time, because I can't just come up with all the questions students ask, on the spot. So it's just there in front of you and you can just do it seamlessly. You just kind of look things up, give them the answers they want. Another thing, you share images, show videos. You just make language a lot more kind of user-friendly. I don't know. It's just easier to explain things by showing them, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's just so much easier to do that and while teaching a class online. How to make things more fun. There are a few things that I've been using quite a lot. You've probably heard of them as well. The first one is Padlet. Do you know Padlet? Do you use Padlet?
Oh, what's that?
Padlet is absolutely amazing, and I am obsessed with it.
Okay, I'm taking
I probably use it too much. Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
Padlet is basically it's a little place that allows you to make kind of websites, which are extremely easy to set up. So basically, you get a page, but everyone can contribute to it. So whoever you share that link with, everyone can put something on that page. So for example, they could do pictures. So let's say you're talking about traveling or food. So you find a picture, place in your country that you'd like everyone else to come and visit. They share those pictures, maybe the name of the place, you put them in groups, they tell each other about the place or the food from your country that you'd like everyone to try, for example. A couple of months ago, that was just a month ago, wasn't it? For Halloween, we were talking about fears. So things that scare you. That was quite good, actually. Apart from pictures, you can do text. You can work with text. So if you're doing writing, do something like collaborative writing. So people just input text. So they do like individual posts. You could do like social media kind of posting where everyone kind of starts a thread. Everyone can actually post on the page and then add comments. So it's really good. It's like authentic writing practice instead of writing essays, which you only do for university. To be fair, you don't really do them in real life. That's something that they can actually do some authentic writing practice there. Lots of things they can put up on the Padlets. They can put up their own pictures, photos. I don't know. Just take a picture of something in your room that kind of reminds you of someone. I don't know. Videos, links to websites. Like find an article about like a recent news story from your country. Put it up there. Look at other people's stories. Have a chat about them. So there's like an endless list of things that you could do on a Padlet.
So do they have to share the screen, or do they get like a link and they can update this website with their own stuff?
It just updates as they go. Yeah, it's just like a live website where whatever happens, whatever someone puts on it, everyone can see it. So yeah.
Yeah, amazing. That's another thing I want to try. Just note it down. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Yeah. I'm using Google Suite to my lessons. I don't do Zoom. I used to, but I'm using Google Meet, Google Docs, Google everything. So Jamboard is part of the Google Suite, and it basically replaces the whiteboard you have in Zoom, other platforms. One great thing about the jams is you get sticky notes. You can just put up sticky notes on it, and you can move them around. So that's quite good for things like classifying, ordering. If there's a story and you need to put the events in order, so students can just move those stickers around and put them in the right order. Or if they need to agree or disagree with something, you can just put the ideas in 2 columns, so whether you agree or disagree with something. So that's quite hands-on, quite interactive. Again, something they can do in pairs or groups. Put them in a breakout room, give them one jam to work on. Yeah. And yeah, they do that. Google Forms. Forms, yeah. Quite good for quizzes. So you can do like a revision quiz on a Google form, can add pictures to them. you can, that's another great thing. You don't have to, if it's a quiz, like a test type thing, you don't have to mark them because you can set it up so it kind of gives them the score automatically.
Mhm.
It shows them the right or wrong answers. What else do I do that's interactive? Using the chat window.
Mhm.
Very obvious, but again, quite a few things you could do with it to make it more fun. Like, instead of typing something up using emojis.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if you teaching a grammar point or teaching some vocab, if you don't have any questions, can you please put up your favorite emoji, and do you get prepared to see whatever you might see. It might not be a nice thing that that will come up in the chat window, but students are quite creative with those.
Mhm.
That could be like a nice giggle in class. Yeah, quite refreshing. Another thing that I learned on a pre-sessional course I was teaching this summer, it's
Mhm.
quite a good actually, because sometimes you ask students a question and they need to respond in the chat window, but some people need a bit longer to think. Some people are not that good at typing, so they're not very fast. They can't type very fast. So what you do, you ask them a question. You tell them to type up the answer, but don't press enter just yet. So you've got the answer there, but you've not posted it yet. So you give them a minute or so, and then when you kind of think that everyone's come up with something, now you can press enter. So everyone's got a chance to kind of to participate. Because otherwise, when you ask a question and you see a couple of answers have come up, and the rest of the class might be like, well, someone's already answered, why bother? So I'll just, yeah,
I see
it's
what
done.
you mean, of course. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those are a few things that could try kind of mix things up, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm learning so much now.
Oh, nice.
Notes.
Now
Yeah.
I'm actually, as we're chatting, I'm just thinking that I need to mix things up a bit more because as I'm talking, I'm kind of coming up with ideas, and I always find myself doing things repetitively. So I think this kind of chat actually helps, mix things up.
Generate more
Actually,
ideas. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think when I taught online, I also played lots of games like Kahoot quizzes, sometimes Quizlet Live. Does it work for you?
I've not had that much experience with Kahoot actually. I tried to do it once, but somehow it just took me so long to set it up. And then the options they give you, the free version,
Yeah.
so basic, and the things that you think, oh, I could have done this, but I have to pay for that version. And I was just like, oh, you know what, screw it. No, just do Google Forms instead. That's too much faff. Yeah, but it probably works for other teachers, yeah, and they're quite great, quite interactive. You get music, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're quite fun, but it's just not for me. Or not
Yeah.
at this point anyway.
Exactly. I'm just mentioning it because the students kind of that I worked with that obsessed with Kahoot. This is like one game they want to play. Oh, let's play Kahoot today.
Yeah, I'm not telling my students that exists, so so I learn how to use it.
Yeah. And as we're talking, I'm just thinking. So basically, those two types of teaching online, teaching face to face, are so different. So, and usually people say, "Oh, face to face teaching is so much better." But do you think there are situations where actually teaching online is so much better than teaching face to face?
I think that more and more people are getting converted. Because I think that everyone, well, most of us, both teachers and students, were really skeptical.
Yeah.
But now I think, again, it depends. If you're lucky enough to get into a classroom with the teacher tries different things and tries to make it less lecture-like and more lesson-like, then you'll definitely see the benefits. Well, one of them I think, is that I think that kind of the more intensive online lessons, because if you think of it, you kind of you see the close up of the students for the whole time, and they're kind of on the spot. They can't kind of drift off. They can't, go on their phone. They're right in front of you. So I think that kind of makes it a bit more intensive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They've got to focus. They've got to be there. You can see if they're participating, if they're putting anything in the chat, if they're raising hand or whatever you're asking them to do. Yeah, and lots of interaction patterns that you can use in an online classroom as well. I don't think that any worse, if not better. Well, the benefits are obvious. It's the flexibility of studying from your home, and saving lots and lots of time, and probably money, because it could be a lot more expensive to travel. I think they could be tricky for large classrooms, because it's really hard to kind of keep an eye on everyone in a large online classroom. A lot harder than you'd be able to in a physical classroom. But in smaller groups, they're just brilliant, and they're paperless, and that is and just it's apart from saving the trees, is just so much easier to organize and keep the materials for the students. So like I mentioned, I use Google Docs, and I find them brilliant because you could just kind of hyperlink everything to everything else. So my students, they all have a so-called progress tracker. So the slides that I use in the lesson, I link them to that document. I give them some tick boxes to things to do in their own time, like homework, but always optional. Some key points from the lesson, some key vocabulary, some notes. So everything's literally in one document. They don't have to, keep the photocopies or books and, never be able to find anything there.
I use Google Classroom a lot because I like to have everything organized in one place with all the things I'm sending to my students, which is great. Yeah. And one more thing I wanted to ask you, Irina, is that I found when teaching a bit bigger groups, bigger, I mean like more than 4, some students have some connectivity issues, problems, they come late, and then I found it really interrupting. They interrupt me, and they're sometimes slow, understanding what to do, how to join the breakout room, and that, and everything like that. How do you deal with that?
It's just a learning curve, isn't it? I think, we've all been there, to be honest. If it's someone who's not been in a virtual classroom before, I don't know, might help to kind of, if actually come to think of it, if you do like a little step-by-step tutorial, literally like a short video, sharing your screen, showing them what to click and where to go, that could be a massive time saver. I suppose you do it just like a one-off and just email it to the students who are about to join the class, and that might actually help. Students coming late, well, that's that could happen face to face, and there's not much you can do about it. I don't know. I don't really have very strict rules, but I just find the people I'm teaching at the moment are really, really lucky, because I know they're all motivated. They've all paid for the lessons. They want to kind of make the most of it. So if someone keeps, I don't know, cancelling, coming late, not being bothered, then they don't usually stick around for long. So there's no point. But that's the nice thing about, you know, doing my own thing, teaching my own students, because when you work at a university for a language school, there will be people who are there because someone sent them, because someone told them to do it, and it's the last place they want to be. But there's not much you can do about it, though. Or maybe there is, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's always tough, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious about your language company, Virtually Everywhere, right?
That's kind of my own baby. It's well, that's that. That was the whole idea. I wanted to do my own thing. It's not like a full-blown language school, because it's just me doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, very small at the moment. But hopefully it'll grow. Yeah, I'm not teaching full-time at the moment because of other commitments I've got. But hopefully it will grow. What I do, I do group and one-to-one lessons, and like it says on the tin, it's something you can do wherever you are in the world. You can do it virtually anywhere. So at the moment, I've got students from 6 different countries, which is really, really nice. Yeah. We do lots of speaking practice. We do bit of vocab, bit of grammar. We do a bit of a flipped classroom, because I asked them to do the reading or the listening before the lesson, so we don't have to waste time doing that in class. Mm-hmm. Something they can easily do in their own time. The reading and the listening is usually something off the internet, some recent news, some controversial things that we've been talking about recently, actually. Been doing all the parsnips, the things that you're not allowed to do in classroom. We've been doing all those, but I find it a lot more engaging. And it's like, when you're teaching adults, mm-hmm. you get sick of talking about favorite films and favorite animals. You want to talk about real stuff at some points. So I think that's something that's making the lessons more engaging, actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just being able to maintain a conversation, even if you're a learner. It's quite motivating for the students as well. Even as a learner, sometimes they feel like they've not got enough vocabulary, but then you set it up so that they can actually participate in a proper discussion with whatever language they've got, but they're still kind of talking about, the real stuff, and mm-hmm. that could be quite, encouraging. So yeah, I seem to be enjoying that. So mm-hmm. Yeah,
cool. And you mentioned in the beginning of our talk that you prepare all your materials by yourself. Isn't that time consuming? And how do you do that?
To be honest, it doesn't take that long, because, well, to be honest, I'm a control freak, and I'd still do that if I wasn't teaching off a course book anyway. If it's the course book I've been using for years and years, I probably wouldn't need that long to get ready, but I'd still try to mix it up anyway, so it will still take time for me to prepare things. Usually it takes about an hour for me to prepare a lesson, but that's if I put my phone on flight mode and don't get distracted by social media. Otherwise, it can take forever. But yeah, if you're using Google Slides, you've already got the template. Mm-hmm. You can just make a copy of the old one and mm-hmm. edit whatever needs editing, but you're not kind of starting from scratch. Mm-hmm. If you know what you're doing, it doesn't take long. I sometimes find that the hardest thing is to find a topic, mm-hmm. some materials.
Mhm.
But then again, scrolling social media could be really draw your ideas from there. It's like
Yeah.
something funny happened, something outrageous happened, or that could be a nice lesson. But yeah, it's also about knowing your audience. I wouldn't push a really controversial topic if I knew that it might make people uncomfortable, or if I knew they wouldn't have that much to say about it. So yeah, it's just knowing who you're teaching and how far you can push. But I've had some really, really interesting discussions so far. So I highly recommend, trying. For example, next week, I think I have a group that I think that they'd be up for that. I think we're going to talk about cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing with the J.K. Rowling,
Mm-hmm.
so that could be quite interesting to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Do you usually select the ideas yourself, or do you also ask your students what they want to do?
I do ask them. I also ask them at the beginning before they join the course, like, what are your interests? There's like a little questionnaire in the progress tracker, a little form. Talk about their strengths and weaknesses and their interests, what they enjoy reading and watching videos about. That also helps get ideas. Yeah.
Cool. Well, wow, I don't think I have any more questions, but in case I will have in the future, I'm going to contact you. And
Great.
whoever is watching this talk with Irina today, follow her on Instagram. It's virtually anywhere, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
Underscore somewhere in between, but I can't remember exactly where it is.
Yes. Thank you so much, Irina, for talking to me today. I feel like I've learned a lot. I made some notes and I'm gonna try all the things that you've been talking about today and let you know how successful they were. So
Brilliant. Thank you so much for having me.
Yay!
Had
If
a
you have any
blast, yeah.
friends or anybody who would like to join, we are always looking for new teachers, meeting new people and sharing ideas. So let us know.
Yeah, that's great. It's nice to have a community going. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we've been apart for too long. Let's unite and share ideas.
I love that. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Thank you again. And thanks to everyone who's been watching us, and enjoy your weekend and see you next week. Bye.